The ultimatum. Admiral Kira Nakamura stood motionless before the sprawling holographic display on the bridge of the UES Intrepid, Earth's flagship defender. The image showed thousands of alien vessels, the combined might of the Galactic Council, forming a blockade around humanity's home system. Her weathered face, marked by decades of service, revealed nothing as she studied the tactical readout. Behind her, the bridge crew waited in tense silence. "They're hailing us again, Admiral," announced Lieutenant Commander Jackson, communications officer. Nakamura nodded once. On screen, the holographic display shifted to reveal High Arbiter Vexlar, the spindly, blue-skinned representative of the Kellenary race who currently held the Council's leadership position. His 6 eyes blinked in unsynchronized patterns, a sign of contempt in his species. "Human Admiral." Vexlar's translator conveyed his clicking speech. "The Council's patience has expired. Your kind has been permitted to expand unchecked for 73 cycles since the Treaty of Proxima. This ends today." Nakamura's expression remained neutral. "High Arbiter, Earth and its colonies have honored every provision of the treaty. We've established no military outposts beyond authorized territories. We shared technological advancements as stipulated. On what grounds does the Council issue this ultimatum?" Vexlar's upper limbs twitched in what humans had learned was a gesture of dismissal. The treaty was a mercy, a kindness to a primitive species who, through sheer luck and barbaric tactics, managed to survive first contact with the Tyragon Imperium. "The Council has concluded that your continued expansion threatens galactic stability." Captain Diego Reyes, Nakamura's executive officer, stepped forward. "High Arbiter, the Tyragon attacked Earth without provocation. We defended ourselves. You annihilated their fleet." Vexlar clicked sharply. "A fleet that had conquered 17 systems before yours. And yet you call it luck," Nakamura observed quietly. Vexlar's mandibles clacked. "The Council has voted. You have 24 hours to begin the evacuation of all colonies beyond Sol. Any human vessels or installations remaining will be destroyed. The blockade will ensure compliance." The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in silence. "Well," Rice finally said, "seems like 73 years is the limit of the Council's historical memory." Nakamura turned to her senior staff. "They've forgotten what humanity does when cornered. Let's remind them." She activated the ship's internal communications. "This is Admiral Nakamura to all hands. Implement Protocol Lazarus. Authorization Alpha 7 Delta 9. Throughout the Intrepid, concealed panels slid open, revealing weapons systems and defensive capabilities that had never appeared on any official registry shared with the Council. Similar transformations occurred across the entire Earth defense fleet. Ships that had publicly served as diplomatic vessels, cargo haulers, and science platforms for decades. In the CIC below the bridge, Chief Science Officer Dr. Maya Okafor accessed a secure terminal. "Admiral, Lazarus protocols activated. The Veil is ready for deployment." Nakamura nodded. "And our friends?" Dr. Okafor smiled slightly. "Standing by, Admiral. They're quite eager." "I imagine they would be," Nakamura replied. "Captain Rice, notify all colonial outposts. Operation Mnemosine is now active." Throughout human space, a carefully orchestrated dance began. Outposts that appeared to be mining facilities revealed massive defense platforms. Agricultural colonies uncovered hidden shipyards that had been building vessels unlike anything the Council had seen before. And on distant moons and asteroids, hangar doors opened on bases that officially didn't exist. On Earth itself, in a facility deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, General Hikaru Tanaka addressed the assembled commanders of Earth's ground forces. "Ladies and gentlemen, the Council has decided that humanity needs another lesson in humility. They believe the stories of the Tyragon War were exaggerated, that 21st century humans got lucky against a superior force." He smiled grimly. "Let's show them how much we've learned in 73 years." Across the room, Colonel Isham Beki, commander of the 1st Orbital Drop Shock Battalion, studied the tactical displays. They've positioned their forces to prevent evacuation, not to repel counterattack. They don't expect us to fight. Precisely, Tanaka confirmed. They think we'll fold. That the peaceful face we've shown the galaxy for 7 decades reflects weakness rather than choice. Meanwhile, in lunar orbit, Dr. Elena Rodriguez made final adjustments to the Veil system, humanity's most closely guarded secret. Based on technology reverse-engineered from the wreckage of the Tyrogon fleet, the Veil was designed to do one thing perfectly: level the playing field. Calibration complete, she reported to her team. Phase alignment at optimal parameters. When this activates, every quantum-based technology in the system will revert to classical physics. Her assistant, Dr. Kim, looked concerned. Including ours. Rodriguez smiled. Our ships only appear to rely on quantum tech. Everything essential runs on good old-fashioned Newtonian physics. We just dress it up to look advanced. The Council races forgot how to fight without their technological advantages. We never did. Back on the Intrepid, Admiral Nakamura addressed her fleet commanders. The Council believes we survived the Tyrogon through luck. They'd forgotten that humans thrived on Earth for thousands of years by adapting, by turning disadvantages into strengths. They'd forgotten that before we reached the stars, we spent centuries perfecting the art of war against ourselves. Her eyes hardened. Most importantly, they'd forgotten that we only sue for peace when the alternative is too horrific to contemplate, not because we fear defeat. Hours passed as humanity prepared. The Council's fleet maintained its position, expecting submission, not resistance. Their sensors detected unusual energy signatures from human installations, but dismissed them as evacuation preparations. As the 24-hour deadline approached, Admiral Nakamura opened a channel to the Council flagship. "High Arbiter Vexlar," she said formally. "I bring response from Earth and all human colonies." The alien's multiple eyes focused on her. "Your evacuation status." "There will be no evacuation, Arbiter. Humanity rejects your ultimatum." Vexlar's translator couldn't fully convey his tone, but his body language conveyed shocked indignation. "Then you choose extinction. Our forces outnumber yours 12-1. Numbers, Nakamura replied calmly, aren't everything. Before you commence hostilities, I am authorized to offer you this one opportunity to withdraw your forces and reconvene the Council for proper diplomatic negotiations. Laughter, or something like it, came from the Arbiter. Your primitive defiance is noted, Admiral. The Council's decision stands. Nakamura nodded solemnly. Then remember this moment, Arbiter. Remember that we offered peace. She cut the transmission and turned to her crew. All vessels, battle formations. Activate the Veil. On the lunar surface, Dr. Rodriguez initiated the sequence. A wave of invisible energy expanded outward at light speed, washing over the solar system. On Council ships, alarms blared as systems failed. Quantum communications collapsed. Artificial gravity fluctuated. Faster than light sensors went blind. Weapons targeting systems reverted to manual control. What is happening? Vexlar demanded as his flagship's systems flickered. His chief scientist, a Medusan with tentacular appendages, worked frantically at unresponsive controls. Unknown energy field. It's forcing quantum states into classical resolution. Our technology is now operating at the same level as ours was 73 years ago. Nakamura's voice came through on emergency channels. Welcome to a fair fight. Across the system, human vessels that had appeared lightly armed suddenly revealed their true nature. What the Council had dismissed as inefficient chemical engines turned out to be precisely what humans needed in an environment where quantum propulsion failed. Weapons that seemed primitive were, in fact, devastatingly effective against suddenly vulnerable Council ships. And then, from the outer system, new signatures appeared. Ships of designs the Council had never seen before, crewed by beings they had written off decades ago. Admiral, Rise reported with satisfaction. Our Tyragon allies have arrived. On the Council flagship, Vexlar stared in disbelief at the tactical display. Impossible. The Tyragon were defeated. Not defeated, Nakamura corrected. Reformed. After we stopped their invasion, we helped rebuild their society. They've been our secret allies ever since, helping us prepare for the day the Council decided humanity had grown too influential. As the human and Tyragon fleets moved into attack formation, Nakamura gave her final warning. The Council forgot what happens when humans are threatened. You forgot that our history is written in survival against all odds. Now you have a choice. Retreat and negotiate, or receive a lesson in human warfare that the galaxy won't soon forget. Humanity unleashed. The first shots of the battle weren't fired by the massive Council dreadnoughts or the sleek human vessels. They came from seemingly insignificant asteroids scattered throughout the system. Decades earlier, humans had hollowed out these rocks and installed railgun platforms inside them, powered by simple nuclear reactors that remained unaffected by the Veil's quantum disruption. Hypersonic projectiles tore through the suddenly vulnerable Council ships. Without their quantum shielding, the alien vessels relied on conventional armor that had been designed more for sensor evasion than physical protection. On the Culinary flagship, High Arbiter Vexlar watched in horror as his fleet's formation disintegrated. How is this possible? Their technology is inferior. His tactical officer, a reptilian saurian, hissed in frustration. They're not using advanced technology, Arbiter. They're using kinetics and chemical propellants. Our sensors were calibrated to detect energy weapons and quantum signatures. On the UES Intrepid, Admiral Nakamura watched the tactical display with grim satisfaction. Status report. The Veil is holding stable, reported Dr. Okafor. Council ships are operating at approximately 40% efficiency. Their formation is breaking down. Captain Rice studied the battle projections. They still outnumber us, Admiral. Once they reorganize, they'll adapt. That's why we don't give them time, Nakamura replied. Execute Phase 2. Throughout the solar system, hidden installations activated. From the moons of Jupiter and Saturn, from the Kuiper Belt, and the asteroid fields, hundreds of unmanned combat vehicles, drones that operated on pre-quantum computing systems, launched toward the Council fleet. Meanwhile, on Mars, Colonel Mbeki and her orbital drop shock battalion prepared for deployment. Unlike conventional space marines, the ODSB specialized in boarding actions against superior forces. They wore armor that contained no electronics more sophisticated than a pocket calculator, immune to quantum disruption, and nearly invisible to advanced sensors. Remember your training, Mbeki told her troops as they entered their drop pods. These aliens have forgotten how to fight without their technology. We never had that luxury. The pods launched from Mars, accelerating toward the Council's command ships. To Council sensors, they appeared as nothing more than debris, until they attached to the hulls and burned through with thermite charges. On Earth, General Tanaka activated the ground defense grid, not the public one known to Council observers, but the real one, built deep underground. Massive electromagnetic pulse generators charge, ready to disable any landing craft that might break through the orbital defenses. Fascinating, observed Dr. Rodriguez from her Lunar Command Center. The Council ships are trying to recalibrate their quantum fields to overcome the Veil. Her assistant looked concerned. Will they succeed? Rodriguez smiled. Eventually, yes. That's why we're not giving them time. In deep space, the Tyragon fleet, led by High Commander Krulvor, engaged the Council's rear guard. Once the galaxy's most feared conquerors, the Tyragon had been transformed by their encounter with humanity. Their defeat had led not to extinction, but to revolution. The warrior culture had learned from humans the value of restraint and the power of cooperation. We honor our debt, Krulvor transmitted to the Intrepid. The Council abandoned us after our defeat. Humanity helped us rebuild. As the battle raged, a small team led by Captain Rice boarded a stealth shuttle bound for the Council flagship. With him were Dr. Okafor and a squad of Special Forces operatives. Their mission: capture High Arbiter Vexillar and force a ceasefire. Remember, Rice told his team as their shuttle approached undetected, "We want to end this with minimal casualties. The Council races aren't our enemies, just their leadership." On the Intrepid, Admiral Nakamura received reports from across the system. The Council fleet was in disarray, caught between three forces: the Earth Defense Fleet, the Tyragon allies, and their own collapsing command structure. "Admiral," her communications officer called out, "we're receiving surrender signals from multiple Council vessels." Nakamura nodded. "Accept all surrenders. Ensure prisoners are treated according to protocol." She paused, studying the tactical display. Status of Captain Ray's mission: boarding successful. They've reached the command deck. On the Council flagship, Rice and his team fought their way through surprisingly light resistance. Many of the alien crew, accustomed to advanced weapons, found themselves unable to effectively use the emergency mechanical systems. They reached the bridge to find High Arbiter Vexillar surrounded by his command staff. The alien leader's multiple eyes widened in shock. "How did you board this vessel?" he demanded. "Our shields are designed to stop energy weapons and detect quantum signatures." Rice finished for him. "We used neither. High Arbiter, in the name of Earth and its colonies, I place you under arrest for unprovoked aggression against humanity." Dr. Okafor stepped forward, activating a holographic projector that displayed the battle across the system. "Your fleet is defeated, Arbiter. Surrender now and prevent further bloodshed." Vexillar's translator conveyed his incredulous clicks. "Impossible. The Council's combined might cannot be overcome by primitives." "That's your fundamental misunderstanding," Okafor explained calmly. "Humanity isn't primitive. We simply never forgot our roots. While the Council races became utterly dependent on quantum technology, we maintained proficiency in all levels of technological development." On the Intrepid, Admiral Nakamura received Raya's signal. "High Arbiter Vexillar is secure. Requesting instructions. Open a channel to all Council vessels," she ordered. Moments later, her image was transmitted to every ship in the Council fleet. "This is Admiral Kira Nakamura of Earth. Your High Arbiter has been captured. Your quantum technology remains neutralized. We offer you this choice: surrender and accept new terms of coexistence, or continue a battle you cannot win." Across the system, Council ships powered down weapon systems. The battle was over almost as quickly as it had begun, not through overwhelming destruction, but through strategic paralysis. 3 days later, in the Grand Chamber of the Earth Diplomatic Corps in Geneva, representatives from all Council races gathered. High Arbiter Vexillar, now a prisoner of war, watched as Admiral Nakamura addressed the assembly. 73 years ago, humanity fought its first interstellar war against the Tyragon Imperium. We won not through superior technology, but through adaptability and determination. The Council chose to interpret our victory as luck, our subsequent peace as weakness. She scanned the alien faces before her. That was a mistake. General Tanaka stepped forward with a data crystal. "These are our terms. Humanity will take its rightful place on the Council as a founding member, not a subordinate species. The Tyragon, who have proven their reformation, will be reinstated, and the Veil technology will remain active in Earth's possession, a safeguard against future aggression." An elder Medusan counselor floated forward. "How can we trust that humans won't use this advantage to dominate the Council?" Dr. Rodriguez, representing Earth's scientific community, answered, "Because we've had this technology for 70 years and never once used it until provoked. Humanity doesn't seek dominance. We seek partnership, but we will not be threatened again." In the days that followed, a new galactic order emerged. The Council was restructured, with power balanced among all species rather than concentrated among the oldest. The Veil technology was placed under a joint security protocol to be activated only by unanimous consent, or by Earth if directly threatened. As the alien representatives departed, Admiral Nakamura stood with her senior staff on the observation deck of Earth's orbital station, watching the Council ships leave. "Do you think they finally learned?" Rise asked. Nakamura smiled slightly. "They've learned that humanity is not to be underestimated. Whether they've learned to work with us as true partners, that remains to be seen." Dr. Okafor gazed at the stars. "What they fail to understand is that our greatest strength isn't our technology or our tactics." "No," agreed Nakamura. "It's our history. Thousands of years of struggle taught us to survive against all odds. We carried that lesson to the stars." As the last Council ship disappeared into FTL, General Tanaka joined them. "Peace through strength," he said quietly. "Peace through memory," Nakamura corrected. "As long as the galaxy remembers what humanity is capable of when threatened, we won't need to demonstrate it again." The Earth continued its orbit around the Sun, a seemingly insignificant blue world that had just reshaped the course of galactic history, not through conquest, but through a powerful reminder that appearances can be deceiving and that the will to survive should never be underestimated. The Council had forgotten humanity's strength. They wouldn't make that mistake again.